7 years on from Tottenham's Champions League final, which was a loss, unfortunately, to Liverpool, 2-0. But what would it look like today if Tottenham won that final? If they won that final, maybe 2-0. If Son raised that trophy high above his head and Tottenham were champions of Europe. What would the club look like today? Would they be a bigger club? Would they be in a better position? And would they be respected more highly? Today we're going to look at that, of course, on the Spurs roundup. So we're going to enjoy this video. It's going to be nice to record. Always remember to smash that subscribe button to the flipping channel. And let's get into this one. Like I said, 7 years on since that Champions League final in Madrid on the 1st of June 2019. This was the squad. Of course, we lined up with Hugo Lloris in goal, Kieran Trippier, Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, Danny Rose, Harry Winks, Moussa Sissoko, Dele Alli, and then your front three, Eriksen on the right. Or I think we played two strikers, but I think Eriksen like the middle on the right, Son on the left, and an injured Harry Kane up top. One of the worst decisions of that final was starting Harry Kane. You're probably thinking, I'm mad. I'm absolutely nuts. No, I'm not. If you remember being a football fan on the 8th of May 2019, Tottenham beat Ajax 3-2 on one of the greatest nights of European football, one of the greatest Champions League nights you will ever see. One of Tottenham's greatest nights in their history. Lucas Moura scored a hat-trick to send Tottenham to the Champions League final, one of the greatest comebacks you will ever see in football history, and he didn't even get to start in the Champions League final. I don't even remember if he got a minute, to be honest with you, which was absolutely disgraceful. Harry Kane wasn't fully fit. He was injured for the majority of the end of the season. He got injured in April and was out for the rest of the Premier League season after that, and was rushed back for the final in Madrid. But it was the worst decision Mauricio Pochettino and Tottenham could have ever made. But that Liverpool squad was nuts, wasn't it? Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, Roberto Firmino, Sadio Mane, Gini Wijnaldum, Alisson in his peak, Trent Alexander-Arnold, pinging balls, Origi, of course, scored. It was tough, you know. We had a dodgy handball in the second minute where Sissoko, I think it hit his chest, but others will agree, or his pec. And Salah scored the pen, putting it down the middle, putting Liverpool up 1-0 in 2 minutes, and we weren't good enough. Virgil van Dijk could have won the Ballon d'Or that year. Of course, he came third in the actual rankings, but he was so good. He locked up Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. He made us with our pussies. And later on, Origi done well to go on his left foot, put it bottom right corner, 2-0 to Liverpool in the 87th minute, and win Liverpool their 6th Champions League title. And Tottenham fell short once again, meaning, you know, no trophy in 11 years at that time. When was it going to happen? Would Tottenham get back to this moment, be in the Champions League final? Well, they've never been back since. We've never been close since. If you look at our, recent Champions League participations, 2019-20, round of 16 to Leipzig. 22-23, out in the round of 16 to Milan. 25-26, out in the round of 16 to Atletico Madrid. We've never got past the round of 16 since. And yeah, it's tough, ain't it? Let's be honest. We look back and it's tough because how did we get there so well? And it shows how good Mauricio Pochettino was as a manager. How, he took this squad with barely any signings to a Champions League final. The same squad for multiple years that we're still doing it, This season we finished 4th because we had more of our focus on the Champions League. But the seasons before we finished 3rd and 2nd. We really should have won the league title in 2017. But, it didn't really go our way. So we have to move on. That's nearly 10 years ago now. But the main question in this video, what if? What if we won that final? So let's go into a parallel universe where Tottenham win the Champions League final. Liverpool, they come short. Still on 5 Champions League titles. Tottenham win that Champions League title. Where do Spurs go after that? Do Spurs go win the Champions League for a second year? Do they become dominant in Europe? Do they become the best team in Europe? Or does the same fall off happen like it did in this, let's just say timeline? Let's face the facts. Tottenham ain't in a great position. But again, what if we weren't in this position? If you've been watching football recently, and more so Tottenham recently, last season Tottenham were on the brink of relegation for the first time in 50 years, the closest they had ever been to that point of going down to the 2nd division. Of course, we finished 17th with 41 points, 2 points from safety against West Ham, of course, who finished on 39 points, relegating one of our fierce rivals down to the Championship, which was nice, but look at the highs we were at, that Champions League final. Look at the highs. So yeah, the season after the Champions League final, we sacked Mauricio Pochettino after sitting in 14th in November. We ended up finishing 6th and competing in the Europa League for the first time in, I think it was 4 years. 4 consecutive years in the Champions League. We were back down in the Europa League. And we scraped the Europa League. We were lucky to be there, in all due respect. Season after, we qualified for the brand new UEFA Europa Conference League, the 3rd division of European football. We finally returned to the Champions League under Antonio Conte in 2022, but the season after that was disgraceful, finishing 8th place and being outside of Europe for the first time in about 10 years. It was disgusting. Outside of Europe, a full season where we would return to the Europa League in 24-25 after finishing 5th under Ange Postecoglou. And then, of course, finally breaking the curse, winning the UEFA Europa League, which really should have been the Champions League, just like all them years ago. Should have been that night, really. And it shouldn't have waited this long. But winning the Europa League, meaning we were competing in the Champions League once again for the first time since 2023. 2.5 years away, we were finally back where we belong. So it was beautiful to see. Beautiful to see. But it didn't really go well, did it? I think we can all tell. But let's just explain them. Tottenham could have won the Champions League again. We could have been different. We could have maybe had the same fall off. We could be the same team even if we won that Champions League back in 2019. Or we would have turned into a giant. Do I think that would have happened? No. I don't think it would have happened. I think you've got to look at the ownership of Spurs. I think we've got to understand that Daniel Levy was so tight. And because the stadium was, overcost, it was meant to cost over about £600 million, and it ended up costing 1.1 billion, which was well out of the range of money we thought we'd spend. So we were in debt, really. We couldn't spend much money, but we were still making money. So let's not be oblivious here. Tottenham didn't make any signings, we didn't upgrade our squad, meaning there was going to be an eventual fall-off, and we done nothing about it. We watched our club fall down the rankings, let clubs like Villa, Newcastle, Brighton all overtake us in recent years, being in Europe more consecutively than we are, and doing better in Europe than we did as well. So, yeah, it's just disappointing. It's very, very disappointing. I think players would have stayed. I know Harry Kane, Son, the main men did stay. But look, if we look the season after, Eriksen left the club. Dele Alli would eventually leave the club and didn't reach the same peaks. Mauricio Pochettino got sacked, which if he won that Champions League, he would have been our manager for another at least 2 years. I think so, just because of winning that title in the Champions League. Would have been incredible. It's the biggest club success, and nothing would ever touch that. So it just shows you how so much changed, and we thought we'd change it by signing Giovanni Lo Celso and Tanguy Ndombele, both signings who flopped and cost us over £100 million that window. And yeah, we didn't make the right decisions. We weren't an enough ambitious football club. But I know I've done a video on this already, but how did we get to where we were? How did we, 7 years on, go from the highs at the top of Europe, the biggest game in European football, to near playing Lincoln away, to being at the lows of English football, not even being close to Europe, being a lot closer to relegation than even the Conference League. And for a club like Tottenham Hotspur in the Big Six, we shouldn't be down there. This shouldn't be happening. We are one of the biggest clubs in England. We are, I'd say, the 6th biggest club in England, and we shouldn't be down there to relegation. We make money. We're one of the most profitable clubs in the world. I think we're 9th in the world for making the most money. We have one of the best stadiums in Europe, the biggest club shop in Europe. We've, had honours over the years, coming off that Europa League win, which gave us a lot of momentum, beating fellow English side Man United in the final. What went wrong? What went wrong over them years? And just a couple of options, so let's go through them. Number 1. Lack of ambition. Tottenham's owners and higher-ups have not had the same ambition as they ever had, really. If you look at this summer, Sandro Tonali for 100 million, Mateus Fernandes 85 million, Gianpaolo Van Hecke for 52 million, and big signings like Andy Robertson, Marcos Senesi. Big signings, big players coming into this football club, which Tottenham have needed for years. That is what we should have done after the Champions League final. We should have reset the squad and gone right. Bringing these players. Tottenham nearly got Paulo Dybala in his prime, and Dybala is one of the techiest players I've ever seen on his day. He nearly came to Spurs for £65 million, and it fell through because we wouldn't pay his image rights. Don't even get me started. Image rights. Yeah, one of the best football players in the world at that time didn't want to play because, Well, no, actually, no. Spurs didn't want to pay because of his image rights. Oh, yeah. So that just shows you the ambition of the football club, or what was the ambition of the football club. Number two, lack of success. We've not been, winning enough. One trophy in 17 years is disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. And we're still trying to show off that trophy over a year after winning it. And yes, I love that Europa League. It was one of the greatest nights of my life seeing us win that trophy. My first ever trophy I've seen being a Spurs fan. But why are we still displaying it? We're not even, the champions anymore. Villa are. So why are we still displaying something that we're not even the champions of? Yeah, we won it, fair enough, but that's the past. Last season, when he got relegated, we weren't even near to any success. This season has to be a trophy, a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup. It has to be something. We have to win something this season, or at least give it a push, because we've not really been close. That was the problem with Spurs. We never really got close to any trophies. That was why, there was that whole dynamic of we can't win anything, because we never ever got close to winning anything. So, it was just disappointing, because the club wanted money more than success. And it didn't get to, Ange Postecoglou's reign when the club finally realised that, we need change. We need to win stuff now. This, we can't be doing this anymore. This is stupid. Why? Why are we sitting here still trying to get money when we're not actually giving what the fans want? So, that was a big problem. But let's just say the main conclusion is, what if Tottenham won that Champions League, and how different would the club look today? What's your opinion? Would Tottenham look much different if we won that Champions League in 2019, beating Liverpool in the final to become champions of Europe and the best team in Europe at the time? Would it be the same outcome? Nearly relegation to the Championship last year, one of the biggest downfalls the Premier League has ever seen in one of the top clubs in Europe. Or is it success? Do Tottenham go and win the Champions League again? Do they become one of the biggest teams? Do they go and win titles, European titles, compete in Europe for multiple years, compete in the Champions League for multiple years, and always be near the top of the domestic league? So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you lot soon. Goodbye, guys.